Hello there, it is the 8th day of January and he's hoping that you had yourselves a lovely day. Let's go straight to what made our top stories tonight. The government of Rwanda has observed that as long as Uganda continues to make progress when it comes to the implementation of the Luanda Agreement, then without a doubt, the movement of people in both countries will return to the way it used to be. And Rwanda, for the first time, is set to produce its own mosquito nets. And on the international scene, days after the Al-Shabaab attack in Lamu on the coastal side of Kenya, anxious residents in remote villages remain fearful. A very good evening to you and welcome to RTV News with me, Fiona Babazi. The government of Rwanda has observed that as long as Uganda continues to make progress when it comes to the implementation of the Luanda Agreement, then without a doubt movement of both people and goods in countries will return to normalcy. The observation was made during a press conference this Wednesday. Serge Nori kicks off tonight's edition with that story.
The press conference comes following a decision by the government of Uganda to release 9 Rwandan nationals that had been held illegally in that country and to hand them over back to Rwandan authorities. This has been welcomed by the government of Rwanda. All Rwandans arrested in Uganda must be released, not just those 9. They are many, more than 100. We hope that they will all be released now that the process has begun. There is also the matter of the different activities of individuals operating from within Uganda's borders with the objective of destabilizing Rwanda's security. As per the agreement, such activities were to stop. We hope that that is going to be followed up on and resolved. As Rwanda, we are prepared to do the things that concern us, because after all that has been done, all Rwandans have been released and we can confirm that Rwandans are no longer being persecuted in that country, regardless if they are living there or just visiting. Then obviously the movement of people between Uganda and Rwanda will be easy and once again be smooth. We are also prepared to then tell Rwandans that they should not worry about going to that country, just as it was before the problems arose. The minister also noted that Rwanda has welcomed South Africa's decision to enact laws that prevent refugees in that country from engaging in political activities. It is a good decision that should have been made a long time ago, because refugees should not be engaging in political activities, especially if such activities seek to destabilize the security of their countries of origin. This benefits Rwanda because some of the individuals who fled there were engaged in activities not just of a political nature, but also meant to destabilize this region, especially Rwanda, and that includes terrorist operations that were carried out by groups led by some of those individuals who fled to South Africa. Dr. Vincent Biruta also addressed Rwanda's relations with Burundi. Certain terrorist attacks took place in our country at different times, and it became clear that the perpetrators either came from Burundi or fled there while our armed forces were engaging them. We have individuals in custody, arrested while carrying out such attacks, and they have given statements of how Burundi helped them to prepare their operations and to implement them. We have also been met with counter-accusations everywhere we go to meetings. But we explain such things. No attacks on Burundi ever originated from Rwandan soil. They cannot simply accuse Rwanda of attacking them. They must also provide proof. It is not right that all problems in that country should be attributed to Rwanda. We have proof for what we say because we have people in custody who can give explanations. We have different attacks that happened at different times. All that exists. However, concerning our relations with Burundi, our stand has not changed. We as a country want to live in peace and harmony with our neighbors, to be able to have good diplomatic relations with them, and that includes Burundi. We hope the time will come and they will see things that way as well, and we can all adopt that policy. Next month, the EAC Heads of State Summit is scheduled to take place and Rwanda is supposed to hand over the chair of the community to Kenya.
Now, the 9 Rwandans who have been released by the Ugandan authorities are expected back on the Rwandan soil this evening tonight, and they will be handed back to the Rwandan authorities at the Gatuna border post. Now, these Rwandans are Mr. Rene Rutagungira, Mr. Haman Zeimana, Mr. Nelson Mugabo, Mr. Etienne Sanzabahizi, Mr. Emmanuel Rwamucho, Mr. Augustin Rutaisire, Mr. Andre Munyagabe, Mr. Gilbert Uraeneza, Mr. Claude Iakaremye. The move, of course, has been welcomed as progress towards the implementation of the Luanda Agreement between Rwanda and Uganda. Of course, we will be keeping you posted as this continues to happen. The 9 Rwandans who have been released by the Ugandan authorities are expected back on the Rwandan soil tonight. Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation Dr. Vincent Biruta has noted that the international cooperation played an important role in Rwanda's rapid rate of development over the last 20 years.
Speaking to reporters on Wednesday, the Rwandan Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation Minister pointed out that whenever relations sour between countries, there are bound to be economic repercussions.
Look at
the problems between Rwanda and Uganda. I believe you read articles in which Uganda said that it lost a lot of money because of the stalled trade between both countries. That is one economic repercussion, and obviously they exist. If there is no trade, no movement of people and goods between Rwanda and Burundi, then of course there will be repercussions on one country or the other, or both, but in different ways. Dr. Vincent Biruta also noted that international cooperation played an important role in Rwanda's rapid rate of development over the last 20 years. All of these things we talk about from an economic standpoint, or the social welfare of citizens, would not have been possible without international cooperation. Some countries are our development partners through diplomacy or even loans that enable us to implement different projects. All that is based on the good relations that exist with those countries. I can therefore say that the results have been very good. Then there is the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting that Rwanda is to host in June this year.
We have put in place various mechanisms to get ready on these various aspects, and we expect positive impact economically and for the long term, according to the outcome of the conference, outcomes which are related to various topics which will be discussed. And such a conference is also an opportunity for businesses to connect and eventually sign some deals, and we expect that to happen as well.
And the matter of the migrants from Libya that Rwanda received. Norway has said that it is prepared to receive up to 500, and Sweden took 7 last month in December 2019. They have left and the rest are still waiting. In general, the minister gave assurances that Rwanda's relations with other countries remain good, and in cases where there are issues, the country would like to see them resolved for the benefit of all involved.
141 bodies of those who perished in the Tutsi genocide were recovered following 2 days of searching at the Gisenyi airport in Rubavu district. Now, this Wednesday, a caterpillar used to extract the bodies of the deceased, both young and old, were discovered. The Vice Mayor of Rubavu district in charge of social affairs, Ishimwe Pacific, called upon the citizens that might have news to share with the authorities.
By last night, we had found 28 bodies, and today we have found another 113 bodies. But we are not yet done. We are still excavating. We are calling on citizens to give us information, if any, but we will still continue on with our search.
uyu mwanya wose turimo tubona ko bishoboka hose tuzahagera.
Now she also called on the genocide survivors in the area to come help in the activities and identify their loved ones.
We might have those who can identify the clothing of the beloved ones so that they can give them a decent burial. I believe this is possible and they will rest their hearts knowing that they have done so.
Now the bodies were found as staff built a fence around the Gisenyi airport. Now genocide survivors believe that this area might have more bodies because Interahamwe militia had set up a roadblock there during the 1994 genocide that was perpetrated against the Tutsis. To other matters now, for the first time, Rwanda is set to produce and make mosquito nets. According to RBC, out of 3.5 million mosquito nets that are ready to be distributed this month alone, 3.5 of these are made. 3.5 million of these are made right here in Rwanda.
Citizens across the country have lamented over the fact that their mosquito nets are old and need to be replaced so as to prevent malaria from spreading. As you can see this torn all around, we are bitten by mosquitoes. It is torn and I had to patch it up. We are doing everything to protect ourselves, but we sleep fighting mosquitoes. In order to contain malaria and prevent it from spreading, a mosquito net company was started 4 months ago in Kigali Special Economic Zone. The director of LTC Amei Rwanda Limited, Gaganza Ramba, explains that every day the company produces about 16,000 nets. Up to this point, we have trained our staff and each one of them produces up to 100 mosquito nets every day. In a day, we produce 16,200 nets, and we are aiming to do more in the coming months. We have spent over 1.1 billion Rwandan francs. Division Manager of Malaria and Other Parasitic Diseases at RBC, Dr. Emabrembitu Emremyi, says that in the last 2 years, the government of Rwanda spent a lot of money acquiring units. We decided to buy from outside, especially through our donors and from our own here in Rwanda, so that we get enough from our markets. We will need about 7 million nets. 3.5 million of these will be bought from Rwanda. We are still fighting malaria and we won't back down. The government of Rwanda imports 7 million mosquito nets at a cost of 15 to 17 million US dollars, an equivalent of 17 billion francs. About 3.9 million citizens got treated for malaria in 2019. This month, 7 million mosquito nets will be distributed to citizens, and 3.6 million of these were made in Rwanda.
To health matters, cancer patients that go for medical treatment at the Butaro Hospital in Burera district have expressed their gratitude on the rooms built for them. Now, it's been 5 months since these rooms were built, and Butaro Hospital officials have said that there was a need for these rooms because a large number of patients keep coming in for cancer medical services at the hospital. Now, these rooms are now capable of receiving up to 68 people and were built at a whopping 600 million Rwandan francs that was spent on building and the medical materials. Welcome back and thank you very much for keeping it Rwanda Television News. And do remember that you can catch us on our social media pages. On Twitter, we're at RBA Rwanda. On YouTube, we're www.rba.co.rw. Moving further afield, days after the Al-Shabaab attack in Lamu on the coastal part of Kenya, anxious residents in remote villages remain fearful. While some have opted to seek refuge elsewhere, those who have stayed are seeking sanctuaries in their nearby bushes. Take a look. We do have the story courtesy of CGTN Africa.
Hours after the Al-Shabaab attacked a military base in Lamu County on Sunday, locals in a section of villages neighbouring the base packed their bags and left their homes. The prospect of more attacks made them fearful of remaining in areas around Boni Forest. So they started the trek, seeking refuge in more densely populated areas, believing that there was safety in numbers. But today, a visit to Hindi village found residents at home, carrying out evening chores. By day, residents of Hindi in Lamu County go about their usual normal activities. But when darkness falls, they abandon their homes, retreating to the bushes for refuge. Mary and her sister-in-law live right next to each other. This evening, like every evening since the attack, they are preparing their evening meal fast so they can go to bed early. But they won't sleep in their beds. Instead, they will sleep in the thicket.
We don't sleep at night. We're afraid that, like in the 2014 and 2017 attacks, they may come to knock on our doors at night. So we sleep outside in the bushes. We feel safer there.
This secrecy, they believe, could save their lives in case of an attack. Days after the attack, tension still hangs over villages in Lamu County. Some residents have moved to town. Others have moved in with friends, while others still remain at home, hopeful that the situation will normalize. On Tuesday, the United States and the Kenya Defense Forces sent reinforcements to Lamu. The police service has also beefed up security in the county.
On the urban areas, we have beefed up patrols. You know, I have the officers from the National Police Service. We have even our brothers from the other end, and we have the National Police Reservist. In the villages there, we have the National Police Reservist, and we last together. Here we are working as a multi-agency team. That is to say, it's not police alone, but all the teams. That is the police, we have the SIPU, we have the RNDU, we have even the KDF and other forces. We are working together.
But residents like Mary and her family continue to hide.
Where can we go? This is the only home we know. We can't leave.
They won't feel safe until the guns fall silent. Wilkisanyabwa, CGTN, Lamu, Kenya.
Now, Iran has fired dozens of missiles at 2 Iraqi military bases which host U.S. forces. It follows the killing by the U.S. of top Iranian military commander Qasem Soleimani. Iran wants U.S. forces to permanently leave the Gulf region, and it says there will be a harsh response to any further U.S. retaliation.
This is Iran's promised response to the U.S. assassination of top Iranian General Qasem Soleimani. Ballistic missiles soaring into the night sky. Their targets 2 Iraqi military bases housing thousands of U.S. soldiers.
Iranians are taking the credit to hit back directly. They wouldn't even leave their proxies to deliver the message to the Americans. It's a kind of saving face for them, because killing Soleimani is an insult from the Americans to Iranian establishment, to Iranian state as whole, and therefore I think Iranian has to retaliate.
On Twitter, this was US President Donald Trump's response. All is well. He's added casualties and damage are being assessed and said, so far, so good. He's also said the US has the most powerful and well-equipped military anywhere in the world by far. The question is whether that military will be used to retaliate against these attacks. US troops are based at the Ain al-Assad air base in Iraq, one of the 2 targets hit by Iranian missiles.
Ever since President Trump scuttled the Iran deal, there has been a steady tit-for-tat escalation. And that, neither side can afford to give in, because they'll look weak. The leaders of both sides have committed to this escalation, and it's hard to see how it gets, where the off-ramp is.
The US says its killing of Qasem Soleimani, the leader of Iran's elite Revolutionary Guard, in an airstrike was in response to an attack in Iraq in which a US contractor died, and for which the US blames Iran. In Iran, huge crowds have been in mourning and demanding revenge for Soleimani's death. An immediate diplomatic solution to the crisis seems unlikely.
Both sides have to be willing to engage in diplomacy, and right now I fear that I do not see either side, the Iranian or the American, willing to do the things necessary to engage in diplomacy.
Iran wants US forces to permanently leave the Gulf region, and it says there will be a harsh response to any further US retaliation. Rob Matheson, Al Jazeera.
And that story sums up tonight's edition, but before we leave you, here's a quick recap of what made the top stories. The government of Rwanda has observed that as long as Uganda continues to make progress when it comes to the implementation of the Luanda Agreement, then without doubt, the movement of people both countries will return to normalcy. Now, Rwanda for the first time set to produce mosquito nets. And on the international scene, we told you of days after the Al-Shabaab attack in Lamu on the coastal part of Kenya, anxious residents in remote villages remain fearful. On behalf of the entire news team that made this news possible, thank you very much for being part of us. My name is Fiona Mbabazi. To continue to enjoy the rest of programming, have yourselves a lovely evening and a good night.